of Float Posters. Now you can get top quality, high gloss, full color infographics from Afloat Posters featuring all of the clubs from your favorite league, including EFL League One and USL Championship. Afloat Posters also has infographics featuring defunct historic leagues and even new infographics featuring past and present teams from your hometown. You can get 3 different sizes of posters at Afloat Posters starting at just $8.99 US. And now you can save 10% on anything at the website afloatposters.com. Using the promo code ATP10. That's ATP10. Just enter that code at checkout for 10% off at Afloat Posters. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and welcome to an extra special edition of Across the Pitch. It's championship game week here in Phoenix. Even if the championship game is a few thousand miles away in Tampa Bay. That's right, it's Phoenix Rising versus Tampa Bay in the title match coming up Sunday. It's Friday night here in Phoenix, and I welcome to the show the one, the only Phoenix Rising Nation! Not only is this man one of the preeminent Phoenix Rising fans, but he also used to be a member of the cast of Happy Days, and he is the biggest Guy Fieri fan in the world, none other than Edward Cunningham. Welcome to the show, Edward.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Phil. You know, when you started off and you said it was a very special episode, I thought you were going to say it was because I was on it. But yeah, the finals big news too. So it's good to be here and good to be talking about it. It's good to be still talking about soccer right now.
Well, it is a special episode with you on it because we've been trying to line this up for a while, and I'm glad we finally got to do it. Now, before we get started, tell me, is Phoenix Rising Nation an actual country yet? How's that coming?
Yeah, it has been recognized by the. I'm not sure who it is that recognizes that, but I assure you, it's been fully vetted, and yeah, we're working on filling out the government and all that stuff, getting the infrastructure in. So it's coming along.
Great to hear. And so you started your Phoenix Rising Nation Twitter account back in 2017. What inspired you to do that, and how did you get started with following the team?
Yeah, so it was, I guess, kind of shortly after I started following the team. I lived right by the stadium, like on the north side of the lake there, and so I drove the 202 quite frequently. And one day I looked over and there was what looked like a soccer stadium there. And I mean, I'd probably been there a couple of days, like maybe a week and a half earlier, and hadn't seen anything. So that caught my interest, and I went on Google and I looked it up, and I saw that Phoenix had, not only that they had a team, but they'd had one for a couple of years. And it was right around the time that they were announcing Didier Drogba was going to be playing for them. So I don't have a big history of watching soccer or football, depending on your audience, but I did grow up in Columbus, and so back in 96, I was 10, and the Crew started playing there, and it was a big thing. And I went to some of those games, and I played as a kid, so I know a little bit about it, but I just kind of had fallen away from the sport. But I knew who Didier Drogba was, and so I thought, maybe we'll check this out. And me and my girlfriend Alex went and saw a game, and kind of the rest is history. I mean, I think we bought tickets to every home game that season, and then we got season tickets. The Twitter account actually started. It was, I was on Twitter for a little while before that, and kind of got sucked into a lot of the political side. And if you've spent any time in that part of Twitter, it can be very negative, and it's just, it just kind of started dragging on me a little bit. So I thought I'd do something fun. And I had this idea that I would just start an account that all it really did was sort of amplify voices of people in the community. If people posted pictures, I'd retweet that. I'd retweet things about the team, a little bit of news, not breaking it, but like just sort of sharing it. And that was kind of the idea. If you follow my account, you know that's not the case at all anymore. But that was that was the original idea.
Well, let me ask you this first: what was it that drew you to Phoenix Rising over the other sports options in town?
So I think one of the things that kind of immediately caught my attention was it was more accessible. We were starting a family, and so going to a Cardinals game or something like that, it can get very pricey, and it's kind of an all-day affair. This was right by where we lived. You could park and get in and out, and the parking's not maybe ideal, but you can get in and out pretty quickly. And the tickets were inexpensive. So that was sort of like the first thing that caught my attention. And then you go to a game, and the drums, the noise from the supporters section, the chants, the flags, just all of that was unlike any sporting event I'd ever been to, or really kind of anything I'd been to, where it was so interactive and so immersive. And just like, I sat over on the sideline, so I wasn't right in the middle of it, but you could just tell people were so like into it, and everybody knew the chants and knew each other. And that was very cool to me. And that's kind of what got me to stick around. And I sort of, slowly made my way a little bit closer and closer to the supporters section as I got a little more familiar with things, and really kind of got more involved, just in general with people. And it was just that's what's different to me is there's like a community there, and it's more than just going and sitting and watching a game and cheering. You feel like you're doing it, as a part of something bigger than just yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. There is so much of a community atmosphere, and I think that everything that you described, it really, it does explain exactly that, the way that, the whole thing just kind of, it's not just everything that's happening on the pitch, it's everything that's happening around the pitch. And that's why, when they say football isn't football without fans, it's true more than any other sport.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you say it's like as much about what's going off the pitch. That as somebody who was relatively new to soccer, or at least, like I said, hadn't played for a while, wasn't super familiar with it. That makes you feel like you're a part of it right away. That extra dimension. If you go and if I went and saw, if I turn on a rugby game or a cricket game, I'm not super familiar with those. So if I just watch that, in my living room, I'm not going to know what's going on, and I don't really feel super drawn in. But with going to a soccer game, it was like you just feel a part of, and even if you don't know what's going on, you can follow the cues of the crowd. You can follow there's like a theme to it and a rhythm that other sports just don't really have.
Now you've also had some involvement with the PRFC fan show. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? And you sit with Kevin at the games, don't you?
We sit in the same section, so like the same general area. He had season tickets before I did, so he's a little bit closer than I am. But yeah, no, I because of the Twitter account, he had sent me a DM, I guess it was sometime back in like 2018, and asked me, he said at the time his co-host Rick had moved to Salt Lake City, so he was looking for a replacement. He'd done a couple episodes by himself, and just kind of wanted to have that dynamic, and thought I'd be good, even though we'd never met or never even spoke on the phone. And at the time I was still like very much like trying to stay kind of out of the spotlight. So I think my Twitter account had a little more personality, but it wasn't as all about me, I guess, as it is now. So I told him, I was like, yeah, no, that's flattering. I appreciate the offer, but that sounds like a nightmare. Like getting in front of a camera and having to talk about soccer, a sport that I really don't understand, with somebody like Kevin, who's, played the sport at a pretty high level and traveled around and played in different countries. That terrified me. And so I said no for a couple months. And I think he did the same thing that you did when I said no to you to do to do this interview. He waited a month and he asked again, and eventually I caved. And Kevin, and for the listeners who don't, Kevin's a diehard Phoenix Rising supporter. He started a YouTube channel where he does kind of a lot of different things, but it's like, reporting on news and things that are going on with the club, and then some really cool and to a large degree kind of exclusive interviews with players, or at least at the time when he was doing it. Like nobody else was really getting that access, and sitting down with the players for 45 minutes and just having like a casual conversation with them, and doing it on video. So that appealed to me a lot. Not doing the interviews, but just meeting people and being a part of that. And so I eventually caved and did a couple episodes, and they were bad. And then we did it for, I guess, 2 years now. And I don't know that we've gotten any better, but we've had a lot of fun.
Well, I enjoy them. I'll tell you that. I still think the funniest thing he ever did was that Christmas episode with the Grinch.
Yeah, so that was all Kevin's idea. And honest to God, and Kevin sent me that, and he does with other things we do that turn out really well. But he sent me that, and I was like, we can't do this. This is like the cringiest thing I've ever read. And then we did it, and I felt like it was fun, and it worked. And it was, it's like everything we do is campy and tongue in cheek, and it's not. We don't take ourselves very seriously. There's a lot of people that are, I think, at least from my perspective, people that are smarter than me and know more about the game than me. There's nothing really that I can bring to the table there that somebody else isn't already doing. So our thing has always been to, just kind of have fun with it and be about the community. It's called the Fan Show, so we try to include people from the community and things that are going on. And it's been a lot of fun, and I've met some of my favorite people and some of my best friends from doing that.
Yeah, well, it's a great, like you said, it's a great thing for the community because it does involve so much. It's not just hardcore soccer analysis, like you said. It's about the community and it's about the fans.
Yeah, we try to keep it. We've done a couple things in the past with Joseph Lowry, where he was talking tactics, but it was really like basic stuff. And we kind of looked at it as a lot of fans of Phoenix Rising are new and they don't necessarily know the sport, and Phoenix Rising might be their first introduction to it, or like, their real first deep dive into it. And so, again, there's people that can, go on and on for an hour and discuss tactics, and I would have no idea what they're talking about. So we try to take a little bit of that out of there. And even with like the interviews that Kevin does with the players and the staff and everything, it's really approachable, I think. And it's not, a super deep dive into anything that people wouldn't understand. It's just kind of talking about their histories. The same type of thing that you do, I know you do a little bit of everything, but just kind of getting that personal side and getting to know people. And that's what I think, kind of echoes back to what got me to soccer in the first place. Just being part of that community and trying to grow that. And Kevin's a super talented guy, so it's fun to do that with him.
Yeah, he's such a great guy, and I look forward to you guys having more of those in the future. One thing I do need you to tell everybody about it is what's the whole Guy Fieri story?
I was actually thinking about that a month or so ago, and I couldn't quite figure it out. I looked back and I found my first like Guy Fieri related tweet, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but it wasn't it wasn't over the top. It was just like basically like I said something stupid, and there was a picture of Guy Fieri, and I think it was just the reaction because people for whatever reason had this like visceral hate for Guy Fieri, and, you know, because I'm who I am, I think that's fun, and and
it would be like the equivalent to if you decide to become the world's biggest Nickelback fan and just post about Nickelback all day long.
Exactly. Like
I might start like doing that.
and like really, it shouldn't bother anyone. I mean, I don't like Nickelback, but like I don't know anything bad about them. You know, like I've never heard that Nickelback are bad people. It's just I don't like their music. So it's fun to me when somebody's like, "Oh man, that's like I'm like angry about about that." And the same thing with Guy Fieri. Like everything I read about him, he's philanthropic. He's supposedly like a nice guy, and so it's just because he's got stupid hair and he wears 2 watches and flame shirts. Yeah, right. So everyone's like, yeah, screw that guy. And I think that's kind of just that's like really sort of the whole story. I don't love Guy Fieri. I don't like dislike him. I think he's fun.
You don't have the whole series saved on TiVo.
No, I did. I used to watch them, but mostly because like I watch a lot of Food Network, and I'd sit there and eat, especially when my college days and early 20s. I'd sit there and eat my Kraft macaroni and watch some fancy cooking show like MasterChef or something, and just
what's your favorite dine-in driver, whatever they are?
Like in the Phoenix area or from the show?
Anyone that you've been to. What's your favorite diner, drive-in, or dive that you recommend?
Oh, I like Long Wings.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're in your part of town, but there's a couple of them around. I'm familiar
with them. Yeah, they're kind of all over. I think there's even one in Tucson.
Yeah, well, and so I think they're all like owned by different people. I mean, like under the same umbrella, but they're all a little bit different. And some of them are fun. There was one in Tempe that had like concerts at it, and I don't know. It's like a Phoenix. To me, it's like a Phoenix staple. I wouldn't necessarily eat there all the time, but.
Well, what about the soccer burb? Tell us about that.
So that's my like one of my favorite things too. Is sort of the entire notion of mascots in general and branding and all that stuff. Like when all these teams, especially in the USL and in the US, there's a lot of new soccer teams that pop up kind of regularly, as the sport grows here. So you get all these graphic explainers or logo explainers, and they're all like incredibly stupid. And it's just like marketing jargon or just something that just doesn't make any sense. It's like gray represents like the fortitude of the city, and okay, well, so I just find all this stuff fun, and I think it's funny for whatever stupid reason when there's soccer balls like in a team's crest. I know, like I don't expect everybody else to follow that, but it seems a little redundant to me, I guess, maybe. I know some of the teams that have been around for a long time do it, and then you can always tell when the new American soccer fan sees one, because they ask like, why does it have a volleyball in whoever's badge? But no, I just thought it was like,
yeah, Accrington Stanley has the old school volleyball looking soccer ball in their crest.
Yeah, I think that it's like it looks like a medicine ball or something. But no, it's just another stupid concept that it's kind of funny to think about. Like if the Phoenix Rising badge and it's not a mascot per se, I guess, but like the symbol in the middle of it is it's a hybrid of a bird and a soccer ball. It's got the what is it, like a pentagonal pattern, whatever the soccer ball pattern is.
Yeah.
So then you think like, okay, what does that look like if that's a real thing. It's just like a silly concept. But yeah, just like the idea of a half soccer ball, half bird is funny to me.
Well, let's talk a little bit of just light tactical stuff here, since we do have a championship game coming up.
Yeah.
With Tampa Bay, one of the things that we've kind of noticed is that they're playing a 3-5-2 formation, which is something that we don't see a whole lot in the Western Conference. Do you think that's going to pose anything unusual in terms of challenges to us this week?
Oh, geez. Kind of my gut feeling without knowing anything about this was that we have had some struggles in the midfield, and to be outnumbered like that could be an issue. But it'll be interesting. I mean, a big part of this game to me is contingent, and you probably know this. I haven't heard if Damian Lowe is going to be match fit for the full 90, if he's going to start. I think that takes some pressure off the midfield to play back, because he's got to me, it seems like he's got a better control over the back line, and the rest of the players kind of just meld, and he's just, physical and solid, and he takes up a lot of space. And so I think that would take a little bit of pressure off the midfielders. But yeah, no, I think that's an interesting question. and you probably know the answer better than I. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, here's what I think. I think one of the things that I've noticed is that Mustafa Dumbuya, who of course was with Phoenix Rising last year, he has not played the playoffs so far. I understand he's had some kind of an injury. What I have seen is that when he's playing, he's played more of the right wing back position, which should be on the far right side of the midfield in the 3-5-2 formation. So we know that he's a defensive player. And basically what you look at is that all formations basically come back to 4-3-3 in the end of things. This was something I was talking about with Jake the other day. So what that tells me is I've seen Dumbuya play as their right wing back. So that tells me that the player that they have on their right is going to be their midfielder that cheats back, plays with the defense, which in turn means that their left wing is going to be the one that goes up and plays with the forwards. So I think that's something we should watch for.
So is that sort of the idea? They can sort of trade off sides if they want to push up forward on one side and drop back. And
yeah, those outside players, they end up running a lot, and you'll usually in a 3-5-2 system, you'll a lot of times see those players subbed off first. Accrington's been playing a 3-5-2 this year. Like Tariq Uwakwe, he's the guy who's been playing on that left wing where he's more of the offensive guy, and now they've had Michael Nottingham. They brought him in, they're playing him more on the right. So it just seems like if you look at the 3-5-2 and turn it into a 4-3-3, you can almost take your right wing back, move them back with the defense, and the left wing back, move them up with the forwards, at least in the way that I think Tampa Bay is setting up. And I'm just basing that as having seen Dumbuya be on the right. I just had to throw in one tactical question there for you, because I know what a fan you are of those. But getting back to some more fun stuff, you're obviously planning to watch the match on Sunday night. What is going to be your match beverage of choice?
Ooh, that's a good one. Normally it's Miller Lite, and not because I'm a huge Miller Lite fan or that I think it tastes great, but it's low calorie, and I'm in my mid 30s, so the craft beer thing, that's nice, but not nice for my pants. So yeah, no, I'll be hanging out at the house, with the family. My almost 3-year-old son is a big Phoenix Rising fan and a huge Solomon Asante fan. a matter of fact, that's the first and I think still only athlete that he recognizes on site. So shout out to Asante for that.
Hey, that's a great first pick, I'll tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is a testament to do you know the account? I think it's Crit CRIT _ Phoenix PHX.
Oh yeah,
that's what it is. Daniel, if you know him, but he makes night lights. He prints things like 3D objects, and one of the things that he prints is night lights, and he puts graphics on them of different, all kinds of stuff. But one of the things he does is Phoenix Rising related ones, and he was kind enough to send one of Solomon Asante, actually two, and my son loves them, and yeah, every time he walks by, it's Asante, Dad, Asante.
That's awesome. So this year you've been watching all the matches at home. I'm sure that's been a bit of a change for you from past seasons.
Yeah, so we got the option as you did, a couple months ago to either, I think it was like what, April or May when they sent out the option. You could either defer your season tickets.
Something like that. May or June, I want to say.
Yeah, it was still like, I don't know, I want to say like early enough on, but it was like there was some uncertainty there, and you didn't really know what direction things were going to head, and so I wavered on that for a while. Do I want to chance it and say I want to keep them, and then what if I'm not comfortable going out then? And so I deferred, and I have been watching them from home, which is a different experience. But I think because I've been around for a while, like it doesn't feel as lacking as I might otherwise feel. Like, you get on Twitter, you can talk to people about the game. There's watch parties, virtual watch parties and things, which I'm not a huge fan of, but like, there's options for that, and you can feel like you're like interacting with people, throughout it. So that's helped, I think, a lot to keep that sort of extra element of the interacting with the fans and the community. But yeah, it's weird, and it was weird, when they're pumping in really bad crowd noise for a while, and the stadiums were empty, and the cardboard cutouts were very cool. But it's just, it was a little bit weird for a while. So it's cool to see a couple people in the stands and things look a little bit more normal. I know they're not, but it's a nice reprieve to watch that and pretend for a minute.
Yeah, it's definitely been good to get some people back out there, and it's been a strange year to say the least. And I just hope that by next year things can be back to normal enough that we can have the whole party back together again, if you will.
Yeah, and like, how much will everyone appreciate that? That's one thing that, like, when things do get back to normal, it's just going to be so much sweeter to be back in the stands and be chanting with everybody and just be back to normal.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think it's kind of maybe a silver lining, if you will. And I think that when things do get closer to normal, that we'll all maybe appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah, certainly we'll have a different perspective, on things, and that's not a bad thing, to have renewed appreciation for the things that we all took for granted for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, it's getting a little bit late in the evening here, and I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate you taking time with me here tonight, Edward. So I'm not going to keep you all night, but before we wrap up, we do need to get your score prediction and what you think is going to happen in the game on Sunday.
Oh God, whatever I say is somehow going to be used against me for eternity by someone. I said earlier today that I every single game that we play, I think we're going to win by 9, because I'm like the eternal optimist in that way. Even the regular season, and when we're playing somebody that's supposed to be a challenge and it's on the road and everyone says, oh, it's going to be a tight game, I'm like, no, we're going to score like 8. I don't expect that to be the case. I mean, it's a big game. I know that Tampa doesn't allow a lot of chances and a lot of shots on goal. And it's going to be interesting, but I'm going to say I think we know we got to score. We've been to enough penalties to not want to do that again. At least I know Zach Lubin probably doesn't want to do that again. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1 Phoenix.
2-1 Phoenix. That's popular. I think that you're the third person that's given me a 2-1 Phoenix score. Who are your 2 goal scorers for Phoenix, should I ask?
Well, I think I know it's like probably the most obvious too, but Asante, mostly just because I hope he gets one. I like when he scores. He's one of my favorite players. And Rufat, I think he's it's been a long season and he's had a lot asked of him, and I think you've seen a little bit of a slowdown in the last couple of games, maybe, but he's also just a major competitor, and when he turns it on, it's just like he's unstoppable. So, and he's got a good touch. Like he's not all about just being in the right spot and heading it in, or he's just really really smart in the box a lot of times. And so I'm going to say Dadashov and Asante.
I like it. I think that it would just be huge for Solo to get a goal in this game because he's the captain. It's his 3rd year now, and he's just the engine that drives the bus, if you will, and to see him score in the game and then get to lift the trophy first after the game, it just seems like the way it should be.
Well, and he's in the running for MVP for the 2nd season after winning it last year, and I mean he just really has been, I think, the league MVP. Like he's done everything that's asked of him. He's if he's not leading in goal scoring, he's leading in assists. He's just versatile and the right person really to lead a team because of that. Because he knows when to sit back, he knows when to take the shot, and I hope he gets it, and I hope that seals the MVP nomination. They might have already voted, but if not,
I think the voting is ongoing. But yeah, I mean especially if you start looking at some of his peripheral numbers like dribbles would and crosses into the box and things like that, he's just off the charts. So there's only one Solo, and we love him for a reason.
Well, and I hate to even say this, and you know exactly why, but he's also playing against guys that are like 1.5 feet taller, which is insane. I mean, like it really is just remarkable the speed and the power he's got and everything. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, especially the power he gets on quarter kicks, and I mean, this guy is just a complete player. He's doing a little bit of everything. He's taking set pieces. He gets tons of interceptions in the midfield. I mean, I just the goals and the assists don't nearly tell the story.
Yep. Yeah. No. So hopefully he gets one. Hopefully we don't go to penalties. And I don't know if my heart can take it after all we've been through. But very excited for the game and either way, honestly, like just for everything that this team has been through this year, and the fans, and it's just really fun to have one last chance and to be playing one last game, and win or lose, it's been a hell of a season, and it's just been really really fun to watch the guys, and very very proud of all of them.
Very very well said. Very well said. Well, Edward, before we wrap up here, did you have anything that I hadn't asked you about, or that we had to cover here today?
No, I just wanted to say I'm really glad that Aaron wasn't on, because I feel like this would have devolved into some. I love that guy, but I feel like he would have been trolling me the entire time. So, no, I'm just kidding. No, it was fun chatting with you. Like I said, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm very nervous. I'll probably be up till the wee hours, and then for the next couple of days. But excited to hopefully bring the cup back to Phoenix, or to Phoenix.
It couldn't be more exciting. It's just, when you get invested in a team the way that we are, and this goes to a championship, as we're talking about this right now, it's 9:19 Arizona time on Friday, so we're less than 48 hours away from potentially lifting the cup at this point. It doesn't get any more exciting.
No, it doesn't. And maybe a good send off is, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on the show, but let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Well, Edward, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Well worth the wait, and we will definitely need to do it again. Until then, up the rising.
Up the rising.
Cheers.